What's up, everybody? Shawn here with another Live to Roll live. We're going back to back lives this week. We just finished the ladies show, so now we're back on here talking some grad school stuff. But we got an awesome little group here today, hanging out with my buddies pretty much. We'll do some intros right now. My name is Shawn. I'm a C5, C6 squad from a snowboarding accident 18 years ago now. So, Tom, you want to take it away?
What's up, everybody? Just a quick shout out to Brianna and the Rolettes live Live to Roll episode that just happened. It was really awesome. I hope everybody got a chance to check it out. If not, make sure to go and watch the video that's up now because it was good. A lot of fun. Brianna's really awesome. But I'm Tom Conaway. What's up, everybody? C5, C6 quadriplegic coming at you from SoCal. And yeah, been rocking the quad life for like 24 years now, going on 25, and super excited. It's like one of my favorite topics is continued education and how anybody can excel. And we got someone here who's a really phenomenal example of that. He's been on the show before. Y'all might know him as Casey Beats, but we got our buddy Cesar on here today.
Hey,
What's up, man?
what's going on, boys? I love being with you guys and just shooting what we do here. I think everything you guys do is so amazing. So thank you guys for having me back. As they mentioned earlier, my name is Casey. I also go by Cesar. And with that being said, I'm a C5 quad, and we're here to talk a little bit about education, accessibility, and how to navigate through university or just school in general after becoming paralyzed.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave this one too a lot to you guys since I mean I did go to school. I went to a little bit, got some schooling after my injury, but I mean you're definitely doing it. Tom's got his master's, done everything, so you guys are for sure our experts today.
You guys are the OGs of our community, and it's so awesome that we can, share I can share what I know, and use this platform in order to like help other people the way you guys do every week. So this is so awesome to me. Yeah,
Oh, well, we appreciate it, man. We appreciate you. And I'm gonna put you on the spot right now, bro. If you
still,
don't mind, since you're our
of
guest
course.
today. Can you tell us a little bit about your education, like your background in school, like what you've done, where you're at with it, and your experience, before your injury, after your injury. Um, just dive into it a little bit.
Of course. So, I am a student at the University of Northridge. It's a Cal State University, in California,
Shout out
and
Matadors.
yeah, shout out the Matadors.
Yeah.
I just recently got my bachelor's degree. So last semester was my last semester, and I'll be graduating on stage the 21st of this month. So I'm extremely excited about that. My degree is in psychology. And yeah, I was pursuing that before my injury. I ended up getting injured. Literally, this is the most crazy story. But I ended up getting injured literally the week I was supposed to transfer to CSUN. I ended up getting injured the week before that, and all my plans just shattered. I had to, obviously go through the whole rehab thing, go through recovery, and ICU, the whole nine. So that really stopped me in my journey, and I really didn't even think that I was gonna keep pursuing my degree after my injury. It was really my family who saw my potential still before I did, and everyone around me who pretty much told me like what I can do. So what I did was 3 years after my injury, I decided to use a lot of my energy into, you know, putting something for myself together, I guess you could say, and pursuing something bigger than just my physical recovery. Because as we know, that's like the main thing that you're so focused on right away. I'm glad I did that because it enabled me to really gain enough physical independence myself. Went back to I felt comfortable to manage what I had to manage. Then from there, like I said, I was kind of halfway through, so I decided to go back. I went back, and what I did was I finished my last 2 years, and because of COVID, as you guys know, I had to navigate my last two semesters online, but I was back in university physically for a whole year, or like maybe I'd say a semester and a half, because that's kind of how COVID hit. But a semester and like three fourths of another semester. I was back on campus having to navigate myself and do everything I had to do as a quadriplegic. Yeah.
Well,
Right, man.
heck yeah, man. I mean, it's quite the transition. I'm sure all the mechanics, all the logistics, everything from transportation to being in class and taking notes, handling your bag, like, getting in between class, like how do you go pee if you're on campus and you like, gotta go to the bathroom and stuff. Like there's
That was the big story.
lots and lots of logistics, lots of things to think about and consider. I just wanted to point out in the chat real quick, Island Vibe. I'm going to read it out. He said, I was approved with DOR for training and future schooling, but I'm a bit scared as a quad in my mid 40s. For anybody that doesn't know what the DOR stands for, it stands for the Department of Rehab. And here in California, it is a state ran program that is designed to help disabled individuals attain either new vocational training following their disability or continue their education within their vocation to maybe fill a different role if they can't go back to the same one that they were in previously when they were injured. Now, working previously also isn't a prerequisite for this. I took advantage of Department of Rehab, and they paid for pretty much all my education,
That's awesome.
including books and supplies and everything. And really go like above and beyond in terms of helping facilitate you being successful in school, whatever it may be. So it is an incredible program. Anybody in the state of California can sign up for it. I do know that similar programs exist in different states. I
I
just can't. I don't know the names of them, and but I know Google is your friend in that regard. I also can't speak to whether or not every state has something like this, but I know that it does exist outside of California. And if you guys do need any help figuring that out, if you're not from here and you can't, just let me know. I'll do my best to dig into the resources I have and try to find it out. But DOR is incredible. I just want to give a big shout out to anybody who is considering going back to school. You'll get it all paid for. You get it all covered. You might even get a car out of it. I mean,
I
they
was
help you
gonna.
with literally everything from transportation to, like supplies for, school and
So I
stuff.
actually even got my first set of emotion wheels, my power assist wheels, from the Department of Rehab when I was first trying to go back to school. I was
Mm,
trying to be in a regular manual chair, and I was struggling. I couldn't do it, and Medi-Cal wouldn't approve me. They did at that time. They weren't approving the emotion wheels, and all the Department of Rehab needed was the denial from Medi-Cal. I turned in all my paperwork, and my representative there that was helping me with school got me emotion wheels within my first semester of going back to school so that I could push myself around the campus easier and be more independent. So like even stuff like that. So and like Tom said, they even do vans and stuff like that. So it's pretty incredible.
They'll even pay you to go to school, and that's the awesome
Yeah,
thing. It's like
literally
you're
like
able
pay
to
you.
use all the Pell Grants and everything to get extra money. So like a lot of the money that I got after my injury, I didn't use it for school stuff. I just had extra money in my pocket to do stuff
yeah,
with.
Perfect. Yeah,
Don't
man.
tell the DOR that. I use it all on my books.
Yeah, I know.
exactly.
But shout out, it is a
Exactly.
great,
But
great program. So
it no, in that like they're just nuances where like they can understand the uniqueness of your situation where hey like power assist wheels would be really significant in
Every
getting around a large campus. So they'll be like, okay, we can like clearly see the need for that, and they can like request the put in the request and get it going and get it rolling for you. And there are very few places that I can think of you know that exist that will do stuff like that for you. You very few organizations or you
yeah,
know social systems like that. It's just
yeah.
like pretty unheard of. So it's something you definitely want to take advantage of. And the also unique thing about it too is you said you're in your mid 40s. You're a little like trepidatious about going back, especially as a quad. You can set your own pace, meaning if you are little worried about diving in headfirst, don't give yourself a full 12 units like full-time student. Like maybe start half-time, maybe just start with a class the first semester. If things go well, if you feel like you can take on more, then the next semester you can explain this all to your DOR counselor, and they'll like be with you. Like their whole goal is not so much like a specific timeline. They want you to get done quick. They want you to be successful, whatever that may mean. Meaning, like, if you got to take more time and go slower through it because that's just your situation, they're okay with that because they want you to be successful in the end, because that's what helps them, is like, showing like how many people we supported ended up graduating, ended up moving on and doing something. So that is, something to consider. If you are nervous and scared, like, it's okay. Everybody is. But just know that it's okay to ease into things. You don't have to dive in head first, overwhelm yourself with, a crap ton of classes and a ton of work, and, still try to balance everything else.
Yeah.
That's setting yourself up for failure. So just
Yeah,
consider your situation.
just to feed off that a little bit too, Tom. Um, the DOR is an amazing resource, but one thing about universities themselves as well too is every university has its own resource department for people with disabilities, and that's what makes it a lot easier to transition to learning, in a wheelchair, because obviously we need different things than other students. And like you mentioned earlier, like for me, my biggest anxiety came from two things. The first thing was having to use the restroom when I wanted. The second thing for me was navigating, through ramps, hallways, this and that, and just making sure that I was able to get to and from class. And what's awesome about the disability resource options that most universities have, if not all of them, because I can only speak for California, right? I'm not sure about everywhere else in the world, but I do know that most universities do have them. And if they don't,
Um, Yeah, I would say that's like pretty much a standard
yeah, it's a
throughout the
stand.
US and like most parts of the world. Is I mean, especially educational institutions, they kind of set the standard for trying to like support ADA and provide equal opportunity for any level of ability,
Yeah,
and any kind of disability. So, um, I promise you, if you're going to like an accredited school, odds are they have a disability resources
yeah,
department, and you can get a counselor, someone assigned to you that can be there to help support you in whatever it may be. I
most,
had a disability resources counselor at CSUN. They had a specific department that provided different testing places, meaning like if I ever needed additional time to accommodate me for
Yeah.
testing or anything like that, like I could organize it through their testing center and
boom.
go through it with their. They like coordinated with my teacher, everything. Like I just had to literally request it, and like all the due diligence was done. I just had to show up for the test at the place they tell me. Um, whatever you might need in the classroom in terms of different desks, like writing surfaces, a note taker. They'll, like have a student volunteer or even get paid by the university to take notes effectively and clearly, legibly, and, get them copied for you at the end of every class. And I feel like I might be missing some stuff, but the list goes on in terms of
No,
the
everything
kind
you
of
need.
support and accessibility, helping you understand the bathroom situation, uh, you know, coordinating caregivers and attendants and things like that to help you. Like it really is supposed to like be full, fully inclusive, every level of it.
And what I really loved about it more than anything, the fact that they were willing to work with me on what I specifically needed, because obviously every situation is different. So like for me personally, I had this thing where I didn't want to take my test in individual rooms. And for me, it was really important to be in a classroom and be able to have that experience just like a regular college student as to taking my test with my group, because it's, I don't know, maybe it's like something that I've always done, but I just have this feeling of like when it's test time, and it gave me this assurance that like my teacher knew what I needed and was able to work with me no matter what. So like things like taking notes, I could have had a note taker myself, and I didn't. What I did was I used my cell phone, and all of my professors were really cool with me using my phone to take notes because that was the only way for me to tap using my thumb, and it became the quickest and easiest way for me to do so. So really more than anything is like you really have to self-advocate. And what I love about college and university is that it's a really good middle ground into breaking people who are maybe a little scared to step out into the real world, quote unquote. And you can use it as like I said, like the training wheels, because most universities are extremely accessible, and they don't have too many like hills and things that are, let's say, like inaccessible for you to use. Everything
Yeah.
that you have there is almost always like they're really ADA forward. and not just the campus, along with
Whoa.
Oh no.
Oh.
Looks like we just lost him real quick. It's okay. We're gonna get him back. Just to kind of continue on what he was saying a little bit, or maybe like segue and we'll wait for him to come back. Get back to the topic he was talking about is um, communicating. Oh, we're good. What up, man?
back.
Sorry
Okay,
about that.
so
Yeah.
I think my connection kind of messed up.
No, you're
But
good, man.
I forgot exactly where I was at. So let me just continue with what's amazing about university, and what really helped me navigate was, like I said, it's like the training wheels on a bike. I was able to do things for myself while knowing that I'm somewhere where my independence is given to me, but I'm going to have support if I need it. You'd be really surprised at how much help everybody wants to give you. Something as simple as like opening the door to use the restroom. Every time I would go use the restroom, I would become this like I'd become so nervous, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to go use the restroom. It's the middle of class, and I'm like rolling to the chair, and I'm rolling to the door, and I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to open this door without making a big scene? And 3 to 4 people every single time would get up to help me open the door. So even
Yeah.
though I'm nervous and I'm like, I don't want to be a burden, someone's there to help you. My professor, they would always be like willing to go open the door for me, and they were
Yeah.
extremely understanding, especially just by creating that open dialogue of telling them like what I need. And I think that's really important, just asserting your care and your needs to your professor on that first day, so they
Yeah.
understand what you need initially.
Yeah, and like even a lot of the professors that I had, usually come up to me sometime towards the beginning of the semester, if not on the first day at the end of class or something, be like, "Hey," like if I didn't already make the dialogue with them, they would, often make it with me and be like, "If there's
Yeah.
anything, additional that you need, like, you just let me know, we'll like work to accommodate it, whatever it may be." And you're absolutely right. The environment, the social environment at a university, a college, junior college, even can be a really incredible stepping stone, especially uh, closely following your injury.
Yeah.
If you're kind
So
of
amazing.
searching for something to do or, a different kind of career path or, just some purpose and some direction, um, like those places can be really great way to find it. Not just for like the classes and the education you can gain, but the social environment there.
That's
Being at school, going and studying in the library, like meeting your classmates, having lunch and stuff. Like it can be an incredible catapult into getting social again.
Mm,
Like following your injury and your rehab, because like let's be real, that's like it's a, kind of a big thing to hurdle back into. Is like starting to go out and be social. It's like you're going there for class and school, but the social component is just kind of like a convenient thing that's there and like integrated
huge.
into the whole process.
It's huge.
So
it is a
you
big,
know
yeah, dude.
it was a big incentivizer for me,
Yeah.
to like move out, want to go, like
Bro,
I
it was the first time I remembered being alone somewhere after my injury and feeling like, man, I did it. I'm here.
yeah,
I'm myself. No one's here with me. And that
yeah,
felt so amazing. I can't even put the words on how amazing that feels to do that again. It's
no,
cool.
true. I remember the first day I went to like my junior college. I went to JC in Northern California before I transferred to CSUN and came down here to SoCal, and it was the same thing. Like I took the bus. It was like an hour, away from like my house or whatever. Like I left at 6 o'clock in the morning. I got to school. I spent all day there, just doing my thing. Had
You're
lunch on
like,
my own. Like capped a couple times. Like just
yeah.
did everything. I took the bus home. Like I was just like solid
Boom.
all day by myself. No attendants, no caregivers, no family, no nothing. No, no brother or sister at the school. Like it was just me. And
Shoot.
similar, man. It's like very, very similar feeling of accomplishment. Like it, like really catapulted me in like wanting to like start to move out and like gain my independence. Like not that like I was like eager to like get out, get away from my parents, but it was like my independence I value like now. It's probably one of the highest things I value. I worked real hard for it, but starting to go to school and stuff like especially the JC where I didn't have an aide, I didn't have kind of the safety, but it felt different. Like it felt cool, like to finally be able to do it on
You're
my own.
like,
I was
yeah,
like, I want more of this. Like I was like, I want to push this. Like I want to push the envelope. Like I want to see what I can do now.
yeah.
So it can be a really great instigator, like you're saying, for a
I don't
lot of
think
stuff.
you
I
guys.
hadn't even thought about that factor of it, but that actually was because I went to school right away pretty much. Like even before I was driving, I was doing like an access, basically a cross county access into Ventura County, which was took me same like an hour or whatever to get across to go. But it was such an accomplishment those first little times of going to school and then meeting people, hanging out and eating at the cafeteria at school,
Boom.
like just getting to meet, like, I don't know, that was a really cool experience for me
I
and
still have friends.
really, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like you gain these relationships and like you said these social moments where like you realize like no, I'm more human than I thought I was, because you lose so much of your humanity in this, disability. You feel like, I'm so different from these people, and you realize like you're not that different from these people. And
Yeah.
just the fact that you're in an environment that's so inviting and that's at the very same time like, if you fall over someone's gonna help you. It's not
Yeah.
like and you're never
Oh,
really
I
alone.
fell a couple times at school.
And how many people are like running towards you, like, go, let's
Oh,
go get this guy. He needs
I was picked up very promptly.
so fast. And that's the most awesome thing. Like you hear all these stories about, universities in certain places. I won't name any names, Carolina, having terrible, accommodations for students. Where like there was this one story that I saw of this woman who was a student, and she got left in her dorm during a fire drill. Imagine that, right? Um, but for every situation like that you hear, there's 30 or 40 other, great situations and stories and experiences where people, like you just said, like you fell, and a whole team of people come and help you because they see you first. They're not sitting there, thinking like, oh, I don't see your disability. They understand it's a real thing and it's okay. And, you're in an environment with people who are learning about themselves and they want to be just as helpful as they can.
Well, generally, like in that mindset too, where everyone is like kind of learning and there to like gain knowledge and information. Like very often, people are kind of less judgy and more open-minded to every
Yeah.
situation because like it's just that's what they're there for, to like open their mind to like see different perspectives, learn different things, and that like is for everything. Like I talk to a lot of quads, especially newer guys, newer quads who are like dealing with this stuff for the first time, talking about like the social component. Like, yo, I used to go out all the time. Like I feel like I lost my social life and stuff. You know, even if you don't have a mind to like change your career or like go to school, like take a full load and do all that stuff, like take a class that you're something you're interested in, a hobby, a passion. You'll automatically be in a room with like 20 plus people that all share similar interests and
Boom.
passions. You're going to be seeing these people, twice a week, for at least a semester. And like, it's just an incredible opportunity to get out there and get a little bit more social and meet some people, get out of your space, learn about other stuff going on. And I'll tell you, man, like it can be a little intimidating being the only person in a wheelchair in a classroom. But I'll tell you what, the like that feeling goes away so quick. Like the minute you're in there, the minute it's cool and casual, like people are talking to you, smiling. It's just like they're talking and smiling at everybody else, like because it's all good, it's all the same. It's all
That's what
love. Like
they say.
it's
It's always
nothing
there.
bad.
You're like,
And I
crazy.
wanted to say, like, shout out in the chat, Andrew, real quick. He said, college is how he met his fiance. Yo, it can be a great place that meet ladies or dudes, whatever you're after. But like, it can just be a really great social environment to meet people, um, and stuff. Like I always tell people, like, not even if you're not trying to like change your career or whatever, like you're trying to get a little bit more social and get out there, like shit, take a class. It's a good excuse to get yourself out there, push yourself out there.
Yeah, dude, I fully agree, man. Like you said, you don't have to be pursuing a career and anything. You don't have to have like a super end goal. Just getting back into the classes, just the social environment can be really beneficial. Um,
And you never
I,
know what like path it's gonna set you on. Like I was really interested in cinematography and film when I started my education, and I like within like a year of being there, I like took some math and some programming classes, and I was like, oh man, like this computer science stuff is where it's at. Like, and I like did a full like 360 flip and started taking a bunch of math classes and physics classes and computer science classes, and really like discovered a different passion that like I was always into computers and stuff, but like never really thought about like programming or anything like that. But it was because of the opportunity I had to like just take a class that was interesting to me, and it ended up being like the inspiration for like the rest of my education, and like what I want to do, like and that's the power and the potential of institutions like this.
Tom,
um
let me just mention to everyone too. Everyone in college is pretending to know what they want to do. I
yeah,
guarantee if you talk to anyone who's in college and they're like, "Yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'm ready to go. That's exactly what I'm." They're lying to you because you know what? One thing I've realized more than anything is that you learn like in the motion. So like, it wasn't until my senior year that I realized how am I going to use my degree to move forward and keep going. Like, what am I going to do with a psychology degree? And what I realized is having a bachelor's in psychology is only a small part of your ability to like use that degree to do anything. So I I got accepted into a master's program. Thank God that I applied to, and it's a professional clinical counseling program at the same school that I'm at. But I didn't know that I wanted to do that until 2 months before I applied, where I was like, this is really where my heart's at. And I learned what my degree really entailed and which route I can go and how I can use it. But it's one of these things that you really have to put into work, and just kind of go through the motions. So, like, what I'm saying all that for is just to understand, like, whether you're starting now or you were starting and then you're in the middle of it, it's okay to not know where your path is going to go. You're going to figure
yeah,
that out as you're on your route.
yeah.
For sure, man.
And it can be a really great place to help discover your path too.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be. Like our paths aren't always like as straight, and narrow as we think they are. Sometimes they might curve and twist and loop around. But that's it. It's beautiful. Like it's a really cool thing. Um,
It makes you realize that like you're not alone, and that's what I love more than anything about university is that it gave me a place to understand myself again, gave me time, just like anybody else needs time, especially after an injury.
and yeah, Renee, you're trying to get to that point. We all had been there, and we all went through that same thing where
Yeah,
we weren't ready, and it took work and time to get to the point where we were ready. I mean, I remember I was like graduating high school, and all my friends were going off to Berkeley and Dartmouth, and like colleges all over the U.S. and stuff. And
and you're
I
like,
was like, going to the Santa Rosa Junior College, and I was like,
you
oh
feel,
man, like this
you,
sucks.
you feel like a
Uh,
failure. You feel like a
yeah,
failure.
yeah. I mean, I know I wasn't a failure, but I just like I want to be with my boys. Like I wanted to, be having that college experience. I wanted to like move out and like go to parties and like be away from home and just like live that life. But the reality was I wasn't ready, and I knew that. I
Yeah,
knew I wasn't ready because I didn't have the basic skills, required to like make that happen. But I like set my mode in that grind set. I'm like, all right, I got 2 years to get my GEs done, and in that time, I got to make my body ready. I got to have my independent skills ready to go. I started, doing my transfers every day, like hot and heavy. I started to, like work on all the elements like cooking and like preparing food and like making sure all my catheter routine was like good and stuff and all
yeah,
the elements. Um, Kind of along while I was like taking my GEs and getting ready for the next bigger step was to move out and go to regular university,
yeah.
and I was able to do that. It was craziest, hardest, wildest thing I've yet to do in my life, and it probably won't be the craziest, hardest, wild thing forever. But at this point now, it probably still is because it was I mean, huge, huge, huge transition coming down here to Southern California, being away from my family, not being able to like call my mom and dad from the other room. They're like 800 miles away, and it was different. And then the social component was I didn't know anybody down here in Southern California. Like I was like really alone for the first 6 months. I just had no friends, no family down here. I was like trying to find my way too in addition to like dealing with living independently for the first time, like my little studio apartment, like struggling, dropping stuff, like, going to class, like taking a full, semester load, but then having to come home and like, still deal with my body and my care and get my homework done and like, handle all that stuff. And let me tell you, man, like, ooh, I struggled the first year hardcore, more like
Yeah.
more hardcore than anybody like even realizes except for me,
Yeah. But you
because
made it through.
I was here alone doing it.
Yeah.
Now I ended up seeking some outside resources. I utilized everything we had already talked about: Department of Rehab, the disability resources at CSUN. I uh, started to figure out my routine, figure out my balance to all this, but I was still having a hard time. And my like saving grace ended up kind of being Triumph and the Northridge Spinal Cord Injury Support Group,
Yeah.
because I went and I found those guys, and like that was the breath of life that I needed to, like continue to like motivate me to do this and, help navigate some of the things I was struggling with at the time, by
Yeah.
talking to guys like Shawn and stuff. So, I definitely didn't do it alone. I was here alone for a little while, but I had my mom and dad alongside me all the time, and I mean, I pushed them away. They would like call me if I missed my phone call. They'd call my brother and sister, be like, "You hear from Tom? What's going on? Like,
What you doing?
everything good?" Like it was wild for all of us. It was probably the best, most amazing, coolest thing I ever done in my life, and
Yeah.
like I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity to do it, and I was successful. And here we are living,
It's a huge step
doing
in the
our
right
thing, man.
um, and like you're an example of just how much wear and thaw it takes, and how much courage, and how much just of your own ability it takes to really get there. And I'm excited that you've gone through so much already, and you're one of the forefronts, or you're a leader in the forefront of the fight for people who have disabilities to go there,
Well,
because you've done it yourself.
I appreciate you saying that, man, because like the amount of work that I did and my mom did, I mean, really, she's the other like superhero in this story. Is I mean,
Yeah.
like coordinating in my care, adjusting my care from Northern California to Southern California, switching our doctors, switching our insurance, getting everything transitioned down here. Not only did it take a year, I'm talking a year, to do it
It's
all.
nuts.
And I mean, there were a few months during that time where we ran out of cell phone minutes on our plan, on our family plan, because me and my mom would spend seriously 9 in the morning to 5 p.m. on the phone every day, trying to coordinate this, trying to coordinate caregivers, trying to, get the insurance to like, I went from living at home to like having my parents be my full-time caregivers to like asking my insurance to pay for my care, getting in-home supportive services set up. I mean, everything, man. Like, I go on and on and on. The point to all that was, I like me and my mom did the work, to hopefully make it a little bit easier for someone in the future who is trying to do this, and they won't have to go through all the trials and tribulations that I did, because hopefully they'll watch this podcast and have some info or reach out to
Yeah.
me or whatever, and like help make that process and that transition a little easier, because it should be an easier transition for everybody out there. If it is your want and desire to gain some independence and move out and pursue your education and pursue your vocation, whatever it may be, there should be unlimited support and uh, to provide that. It shouldn't be a battle. It shouldn't be time and energy that should be spent on better things. So, um, on that end, if anybody is out there struggling, in understanding or making this transition, uh, I do have a lot of information and resources. Me, Shawn, Casey, there's lots and lots of people out there that want to help, you too, so that you're not like maybe, because I don't know, I remember feeling really alone outside my mom in the process and navigating it and like getting shut down and getting denied care and having to, appeal and fight just so I could have access to an education like everybody else does.
It's a
Something
ways.
I wanted to mention, like, it's really hard to navigate too. Is like, I mean, do you live at home, Casey?
Yeah, so I live at home. I
Yeah.
currently live with my mom, and I have so much support around me from everyone who helps me. So I was, able to get to and from school and do my own
Love you,
things.
mama.
Yeah, right. It's like whatever the care is that you need. That's your mom right there. Oh, that's so amazing.
Yeah, yeah. She's
Shout
the
out to
best.
Tom's mom. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
A dang warrior,
That's
man.
right.
That's amazing. Like that's the coolest thing. That's what it really takes a village to get there. But that support, it pushes you to reach your full potential and to be the best version of yourself. Because that's what it is that you're becoming. That I'm becoming. That we're all trying to get. So that leap of faith that you took with your family's approval and with their help and support got you to this point and is only gonna get you to that next point. I think everybody here deserves to have that same opportunity because it really does mean that much. Just like I said, everything we talked about, everything from the social aspect to gaining an education to finding purpose again to finding value in yourself.
I would even
And
argue discovering our identity. Like
boom,
you don't really discover who you are until are kind of forging your path on your own. And like it really did like help me, like help make me the man I am today. Help me discover who I am, and like I discovered new potentials within myself. New strengths, new depths that like I didn't even realize I had at the time because I just never really pushed myself that hard or that far. But the point is you shouldn't have to push yourself to the point where you're almost breaking to be able to be successful at this.
yeah,
It should be a little bit easier, and like to that end, I don't know, like I wish I could just support everybody that wanted to do this, like find a way to do that all. But I can't, I don't. I can only talk about my experiences and like spread whatever word I can to about resources like the Department of Rehab and grants, scholarships, other organizations. I mean, the funding out there to help enabling disabled individuals, it really is out there. It sucks that you have to spend maybe more time and energy looking for it than someone else might just be able to go to school, no problem, no big transition. But the resources do exist. It's just navigating and finding them can be hard, and then
boom,
doing it all yourself can be difficult too. So if you don't have a support system, it's just like what my mom said: don't ever accept no. Don't be
exactly.
afraid to ask for help. It does take a village. Casey said it. It's hard to do. It's impossible, I would argue, to do maybe all by yourself. But even if you don't have your mama, you know, there to like help you out like I did. There are organizations like the Department of Rehab where you can get counselors and people on your team that will advocate on your behalf and will
Boom.
help you. They'll get you the technology you need. They'll get you the transportation, whatever it is you need to make it happen. I wanted to talk about like the dorm situation at colleges. I think if anybody, high up in, Cesar University or whatever, y'all need to work on some accessible dorms. And that's for every college out there. I wanted to do dorm living when I first was coming down here. Um, but it wasn't a realistic possibility because the only option was to share a room with 8 other dudes, literally. And I can make it 7, meaning like I would get my own little room. I would still have to share a bathroom with 7 other people.
Crazy.
But the only way I could get that little tiny room by myself, which I mean, my wheelchair couldn't even fit between the 2 beds that are crammed into this room. So the only
Damn.
option was for me to be in there on my own. I had to buy out the other bed at a reduced cost, meaning they called it
Crazy.
a medical buyout. And
What
like it
the-
would put on like, additional 50% of the cost it would take at a normal dorm rate that I would have to pay for. And
Wow.
then it's not even an accessible bathroom or an accessible room situation. And first off, I was like, yo, I think it's wild that you make me buy out the other bed. Like nobody else has to pay extra if they want to like take part in like
That's crazy.
staying at the dorm. You're gonna put extra costs on the person in the freaking wheelchair. Like what? That's crazy, dude.
Do they not
Second of all,
offer
like
any at
how could
all?
they? Uh,
They don't
huh?
offer any accessible dorms at all. Like
They
that's
did. They did not
crazy.
have
So
any
That's crazy.
accessible units, like meaningfully accessible. I mean, accessible for a quadriplegic. I mean, maybe for like a pair who's down to share a bathroom and try to manage their bowel care, in the midst of 7 other people potentially trying to shower and shit at the same time. Like, I don't know how
Right.
that works, but it
Dude,
definitely wasn't gonna work for my situation. Like, I know that for a fact.
I read a story on I guess it's the University of Northern California, or University of what is it? UNC, North Carolina. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're
So,
good. You're good.
like I said, one of the stories I read was about this girl who got left during a fire drill on the fourth floor, and that was where all the accessible. You're hearing me correctly. Accessible apartments, quote unquote, dorms were on the fourth
Fourth
floor,
floor.
which is
Hey,
crazy. And then when she complained, they were like, "You should just take the
why
elevator."
would you not put the accessible rooms on the first floor? I mean,
Bro,
jeez,
it makes
Louise.
no sense. That's why we need to be in these academic places, because the more they see us and the more they're forced to see us, the more they're gonna have to accommodate us, and that's what's
Well,
huge.
I would even continue to make the argument that like regular like housing isn't strictly even available for disabled individuals either. When my mom and dad were down here, we visited, this is not an exaggerated number, 40 different apartment complexes within, 5 or 10 mile radius of the school. And when we were trying to keep it as close as possible, because I was rolling, like I wasn't driving back and forth, like I'd be rolling in my wheelchair, like taking the bus, figuring it out one way or the other. Um, the I live in a building now. This used to be the dorms for the college for CSUN that I
Mm,
attended. They built new ones. This was like the old CSUN dorms, and I'm in a unit that was like designed for 2 people. It's a studio, but a studio that was like meant for 2 people. Um, and it's on the first floor. It is like one of their ADA units. The bathroom is like doors really wide. My horror lift can fit in and out. I mean, it was a fine. Like, it might be a 60-year-old building, but it was like still really lucky to get an apartment that is accessible in the ways that it is, because there really aren't any other options
uh,
outside of the abhorrent cost of rent, at least here in Southern California. And I know that isn't indicative of everywhere, but realistically, accessible apartments aren't saved for people in wheelchairs. They're almost always rented out to just like, as a vacant
Any,
space. So
yeah.
more often than not, when you go and ask for vacancies, in terms of accessibility, there just simply aren't any available. Even if the ones that the building is mandated to have so many accessible units, they don't save them for people who need them. So it's
ever.
just like they're never available. Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, how does that even work? And then most of them aren't meaningfully accessible. I mean, if you
Not at
guys
all.
were, and I should do a video and post it to Live to Roll and hope this shit goes viral and like 6-star properties like gets held accountable. But if I were to go around and show you guys a video of the lack of accessibility I deal with every day and have for the past decade, I mean, it's shocking. It shocks me sometimes that I put up with it. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't have much of a say. I mean, I try to constitute change and try to. Someone else in a wheelchair lives in my building too. A single mom who's a paraplegic, with a daughter. He lives in one of these studio apartments, and they have yet to make, you know, push button doors like on my building and stuff, even after like requests for years and years and years. I mean, there's elements of this. There's layers to going to school and getting your education beyond just going to
Yeah.
school and getting your education, you know? And that's where it's really hard. That's where a lot of people end up like hitting a wall, and really maybe discourages them enough to where they stop pursuing it, or um, it just affects their experience, in ways that it shouldn't. So I don't mean to be like a naysayer.
Being
Sorry.
careful.
Just
No,
kind of
of
talk about
course,
some of the
no.
negative stuff
I
too.
completely. It's a reality, brother, and I mean that's what it is. At the end of the day, your experience is that reality, and like for you, and that's something that we need to share, because at the end of the day, classes can be accessible all day, but if the dorm or someone has to dorm somewhere because it's so far away from home, and the dorm's not accessible, then what's the point of even having an accessible classroom? Or like, it doesn't make any sense, because you yourself aren't given the opportunity to be able and to live the way you're
Why
supposed.
only go 80% of the way and leave the last 20% for people to figure out? Why not just make it 100% fully inclusive and accessible? That's sort of the question I'm asking too, man.
A lot of what it is like they assume that we just are going to be at home and not dorm. And then what I imagine is like once somebody wants to dorm and they have a disability, like, oh my God, we forgot. But it's like you kind of have to be there. And that's the thing. It's okay to be a sore thumb in that aspect. Like one thing I've realized is that my visibility, and for a long time I didn't want to share my own visibility, and it had to do with embarrassment and feeling like, man, I was this person before my injury, and now I'm in a wheelchair and I'm not the same person. But like being a sore thumb and creating visibility for myself not only affects me, it affects those who are coming after us, and it allows for the younger kids, especially who are young and are trying to figure out and navigate through their own disability. It allows them to not have to deal with what we're dealing with just by us being there, because we're dealing with it firsthand, and hopefully through that we create a change that enables systematic change in these areas that need it more than anything.
You said it, man. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
man.
why I try to be as vocal as possible about some of this stuff, is because like we have to pave the path, that the rest of the people following behind us are going to roll on, and you
Yeah,
bet your ass it's going to be an accessible one,
yeah,
because it's just like what we got to do.
yeah.
Um, it it really it really does suck, that not full equal opportunity is provided, but that shouldn't. Although it is discouraging, that fact alone, I really hope it doesn't totally discourage everybody. I mean, we all have to navigate hurdles and stuff, like even the ABs do too. I mean, there's things that get in the way of anybody trying to further their education. I mean, real life stuff pops up for all of us. It can be a
Yeah.
little bit more unique and intense for individuals in our situation, but there is still a lot of resources and a lot of accessible components and a lot of things there to help enable you. And the rest is definitely something that's achievable and able to be
It's
overcome. Um, and I really hope like everybody out there that wants to do this, that might be getting some pushback, and some of the areas that we are talking about, don't let that discourage you too much and stop your goals. We
no,
press
not at all.
on, we push forward, we dig deep, and we figure it out, and we make it, we talk about it, we constitute change, and we make it easier for the people that come behind us.
Boom.
That's it.
That's huge, and just like my last piece about it, what it is more than anything for me, like I found myself through education, and I realized that like what I wanted to do and how I can contribute to the disabled community. And now it's literally become a part of me. My education plan is to get my master's in clinical counseling, so I can work in a university with disabled resources and firsthand create these places of access for us, like we just talked about, in dorms and in places that they don't know that we need the help and the access to because they don't see it. So I think it's one of those things where like you're not only becoming educated and getting a degree and fulfilling your career path, you're also creating change for so many of us who need it. And I think it's just one thing that has become so for me I become so passionate about because it really does fulfill me.
Yeah. Well,
That's awesome, man.
for sure, man. And the cool thing you said is like it's gonna be a unique opportunity, for a lot of people. Like not just the people in chairs. Like giving access and inclusion. I mean, imagine something like this. Like they had got some accessible dorms or whatever. They got some disabled students. Like let's say there's some like nursing students who are like senior year, close to finishing, like looking for like a side job or whatever, and they like have some kind of program that can like pair them up with caregiver, also like students going in the field and stuff like that. I mean, and create other opportunity for students to like get experience and get exposure to the kinds of fields that they're going in. I mean, there's like endless opportunity here, not just for individuals with disabilities, but for ABs, like in this educational institution as well.
Yeah,
Opportunity for them to gain experience and gain knowledge, and you know while at the same time enabling other individuals to do the
yeah,
exact same thing. I mean, there's ways to like balance it, so like there's so many people are benefiting, so many people are learning, so many people are helping each other. Um, and it could be better. It is already cool and unique, and there is a lot of opportunity for exactly that already. To go and be a part of the disability resources department, to do note taking, to like assist disabled individuals on campus and stuff. Casey was just telling me about how he's applying as an internship to do exactly that. As a disabled individual himself who's had some success in his education, now he's gonna hopefully be working towards mentoring, assisting, and enabling other individuals who are just starting out and trying to get that. There's just endless opportunity to like benefit yourself and benefit others in places like this. So it can be
It's
very
not
cool.
easy. It's not easy at all, but it's very worth it. And you
Yeah.
will become so much of a better version of yourself. And it doesn't even have to be just education. I know I guess the focus of today's show, but just pushing yourself past what you think your limits are, and just by little taking those training wheels off, little by little. It doesn't mean go full throttle like you said, take 8 classes, but it just means putting yourself in a place of or an uncomfortable position in order for you to grow as a person, as a human, and as someone who is not only disabled but has so much to contribute to society. So many of us do, and I think we don't reach that because we're so scared. That fear of falling, fear of coming up short, fear of not having the care will hinder you in your growth. And I think so many of us deserve to experience that blessing of fulfilling ourselves and the people around us.
We heck yeah, man. Yeah, dude. I love that drop. That was so great, bro.
That was
That was
awesome.
so good, man. Um, look at Shawn over here, dude. So good. I think that's really great, man. I wanted to touch on like before we get too sidetracked. I mean,
Yeah,
not sidetracked, but like also close to the end here. Really important instrumental part of success in education, and that is technology. Casey talked about it earlier, where he's like saying how he uses his phone to take notes. Um,
I still have all my notes there too. They're all saved on there.
That's cool.
Heck
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
another
I mean,
benefit of that. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I went up to the teacher at the end of the class and was like, "Hey, can I take a picture of the whiteboard real quick with my phone?" Like I didn't have enough time to, draw down the, logic diagram that we were studying, whatever it was, right? But and I never was shot down. Like I was never told like, "No, put your phone away. Like, I don't want you taking a picture of that or whatever." But
Ever.
having tools like that made the difference for me. Continue to make the difference for me. Like having the tools, the technology we have, be it being able to scan notes into our phone, being able to take pictures, and like have stuff to reference later. The speech to text, dictation software that is so awesome nowadays, compared to what it was 10 or 15 years ago. Um, yo, Jeff, man,
Yeah, no, I was gonna have to shout that out.
really,
That's a
really appreciate
that's
the
a very
fifty
generous.
dollars super chat, man.
Hey,
That's
Um,
incredible. Thank
let's
you.
go.
above and beyond, man. Really appreciate the support. Um, it is your friend just as much as your wheelchair is technology that is your friend. Finding the technology and the tools to make you successful in the classroom, can be very instrumental to your success.
Yeah.
Again, this like can be very expensive technology,
Ooh.
especially like good usable technology usually isn't cheap, but that's where organizations like what we talked about, the Department of Rehab and stuff, grants, scholarships can step in and help out. And get you those things. I mean, seriously, like the DOR will get you a really nice laptop, all the kind of cool technology you need if it means you being successful. Touchscreens. I mean, on my iPad, like my little note taking app out, where I can like just write into the iPad with my thumb, you know, and switch to a keyboard and type it out and stuff. I mean, it really, you can get creative with it. There's so many accessible programs out there too. I mean, software like literally designed for um, UC Irvine grad. Awesome, Jeff.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
Hey,
awesome.
shout out to
appreciate
you,
you,
Jeff.
dude.
Renee made a really good point too.
Um,
Renee said, "Thank God for touchscreens." I think a lot of that is so like I could not navigate through college taking notes, paying attention, and actually getting the information without my touchscreen phone. Like I said, literally my phone is my best friend when it comes to taking notes. And for someone else, it could be an iPad. It can be, a Kindle. It can be all these different things, resources that you can use that allow you to, take notes. Or like we talked about earlier, you can have a note taker. If you're not big on taking notes, you'll have your notes in your email every day after class, and it's right there for you. So
That's more what I had to do, because when I was going to college, when I first was out injured, we didn't have, like, I was still on a flip phone with push buttons, right, digging my knuckle into that mother.
Imagine trying to press a three.
There was no touch. So at that time, I usually tried to get a note taker, and then I also used a voice recorder. Like, and I had teachers that were like all about like, no, I'm not being recorded. And like, I actually had to go to my counselor one time and be like, yo, I need to record. They went and they told him like, no, he is going to record your lectures. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. He's recording the lectures, whatever. And honestly, the teacher wasn't even happy about it. Like, he was kind of butthurt. But like, it's like, yo, accessibility, I need.
Shawn, some teachers want to be witty, or they want to be like a little more like controversial, so they don't want you recording it. Right. But once you have your accommodations met, they cannot deny you. So literally, like, one of my main accommodations for me was I need to take breaks at any moment. It does not matter what's going on, and they had to adhere to that. It doesn't matter if they like it or not, because it's on your accommodation list and it's approved by the Disability Resource Center. Once it's there, it's in writing. If the teacher denies you of that service, you can literally go to the office and they will get written up and they will get in trouble. Crazy, so it's something that simple that it really helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I had a hard time with note takers and stuff. Like, I just never could do it, because like the way that I really retain information is by like writing it out. Like,
me too, Tom.
Brain to like hand to paper, like whatever that is. Typing can be similar for me. So I can like also like type into a computer. Versus reading something, I probably have to read it 5 times before I had like meaningful retention, versus if I wrote it out. But I'll tell you what, like the iPads, the Samsung Galaxy tablets with like the S Pen that is like super, super light, super easy to use. I mean, it's like holding the feather, dude. Like, it's crazy. I mean, with my quad hands, like they even have like cool technology now. Like, if you can rest your hand on the touch screen, and like I can write, drag my hand across the screen. It'll only pick up the pen and stuff. Like, it's like meaningful note taking on these tablets. But the other thing that I always like thought was the coolest when I finally got into school and stuff is like PDFs. I was so worried about carrying around 50 pounds of books in my bag, not being able to do this stuff, like not being able to bring my books to class, or have what I need when I needed it. But I was able to download PDFs, or like the bookstore gave me like PDF access to all the text that I needed, and I was just able to keep it on my light little 1-pound iPad that just slid into my bag next to my notebook, and that was all I needed to carry. I didn't need to have a 50-pound backpack full of books that was just frankly never be usable for me. So utilizing technology like that, like getting creative, realizing you have unique access to things nowadays can be, a huge game changer. Because I've just heard of people like, how am I going to do with my bag? How am I going to do with my backpack? I mean, that was like the biggest question for me. Like, I sit down with my dad and my mom, was like, okay, how are we going to do this? Like, we found a bike bag that had hooks instead of like, like a strap or anything, or like a backpack. We like rigged up a little bar. We could like hang it on the side, and I access the side of my bag and stuff. Like, you just gotta get creative, like troubleshooting that. And I mean, like, it sounds kind of silly, but like that's what we did. Like, we just sat down and it's like, okay, here's the problem. How are we gonna solve it? Let's get on Amazon. Let's see what's out there. Like, like this might work and stuff. And you just do it. Like, you just problem solve it.
And you figure it out, and then it works out for you at the end of the day, because you put that time into it, and then you feel amazing afterward, because you're like, I did it. I got back from school. I had my backpack. Everything I was worried about didn't matter. And going back to like PDFs, most PDF versions of textbooks are free, so like you can find them for free instead of paying $100 for a dang textbook. That's my favorite way, and I would use my iPad like that. I would take my iPad and download my books on there. There was one class, my statistics class, my first statistics class after my injury, where we had to bring our book every single day, because Um, it was like an old book, and my teacher just really enjoyed that book's version of like the coursework. So we would hand, and there was no PDF version of that. But what I told him one time, I was like, dude, I cannot carry this dang book every single day and like do that. And he's like, all right, well, you're in the front of the classroom. Just look on with one of your, one of your classmates.
Yeah.
And that was that simple. Like it really took me voicing my frustration or my capabilities to my professor for
And
him to
beyond
really.
that, what they should have done and what they can do is they can acquire a second copy of the text to keep in
That's
the
what I was thinking.
classroom, and then the book will just be there. Meaning, you have one for at home, you have one for when you show up in class, so you never have to carry anything in between. I mean, it
Boom.
was nice that you're able to like share, and they could accommodate you that way. But like that's the other solution to that is like, hey,
Yeah,
this second copy can keep it here for me. You know, you can
it's
carry
just
the book
voicing.
for me to class, teach.
Yeah,
Let's
voicing
go.
what you. Yeah, and most professors will too. That's another thing. A lot of professors don't have their own. So like, there were days where he would have his version, and he would literally just give it to me, and then he'd walk over, and whenever he needed to see something, he would just walk over to me, look at what he needed, and go back to the board. And like, teachers, for the most part, unless they're a terrible professor, teacher, educator, they're not going to deny you of that privilege because they know you're there and they see your struggle and they understand that you're not here to mess around. Like, people look at you and it's like, I don't want to come back to like, people in wheelchairs being inspiration because we're so much more than that. But your professor is going to see you as, especially if you're there every day and you're engaged and you're asking questions, they're going to see that and they're going to make it as easy for you as possible because they want you to succeed at the end of the day. It's
Nice.
just about voicing that,
Absolutely.
asking and telling them what you really need. Once you get that down and you create that dialogue with your professor, they're almost always going to work with you. I've never had a
Yeah.
professor like tell me, "Nah, I don't want to work with you," and that's out of my own experience, maybe. But I know it's something that's helped me just by self advocating and navigating that way.
I have had a few negative experiences, but they were very, very far and few between. The endless positive ones that I had, it was like just like the experience you just talked about. Anytime I went up, I was just like honest about my situation and like what I needed, or like just asked like, hey, what can we do about this situation? How can we accommodate this and make it easier? I was never pushed back. Even if I was pushed back, it was just a matter of going and talking to the disability resources department and
Yeah.
getting like a little bit more authority behind me, and then it was taken care of that way, and like that was it. um the and then there's like the quad stuff, right? I mean, I've been at school and like shit my pants before, or
Yeah.
like I've been at
That's
school and like got dyslexic, things like that. When I was like living at home, uh in Northern California, like it was really a matter of like calling my mom or dad and being like, "Yo, I need to be picked up today instead of taking the bus. Come and
Yeah.
get me." And like that was fine. Like, um, embarrassing, whatever, like difficult to deal with, like maybe in the moment, but like nothing too discouraging. Um,
For me,
but
it'd be
it,
like
right?
Tom, very similar experience. I pissed all over myself, and I had like gray shorts on, so like if you looked at my pants, you were going to see that I dropped the bottle of water on me or I peed all over myself. And what I did for the rest of the day is I just grabbed my backpack and put it on my lap. And then when my brother showed up to pick me up later, I was like, "Bro, I peed my pants," and he's like, "Oh, you're good. Don't worry. We'll get you in the car. You change when you get home." And then he's like, and then after we're in the car, and he looks at me, and like I remember him looking at me, and he's like, "Bro, I'm so proud of you. Like I'm so proud that you didn't let that kill your drive, and that I know it was
Yeah,
probably hard to deal with being there for an hour, 2 hours, but like I'm so proud that you persevered because it really takes that sometimes. Like you're gonna deal with the discomfort of your disability and your real life at the same time, but it's
absolutely, man.
yeah,
Like
yep.
sometimes you got to deal with that discomfort, but it's like just a matter of persevering, pushing through. It's not going to be the normal. It's not going to be every day. Just because like it happened once and it sucked, doesn't mean it's going to happen again, or happen all the time. Of course, it's like going to be shitty in the moment, no pun intended. But like uh, we move on, we move past it. Like don't let one negative experience spoil every experience. I can't tell you how many times like I call it the what if game. I play in my head. It's like I'm going out. Like I got a lot of stuff to do today. Like what if like my care didn't go that great? What if I have an accident? What if I get dyslexic? What if, my chair didn't charge last night? What if my chair dies? Like, what if this happens? What if that happens? And I can't tell you how many times, like, I've gotten in my own way. I mean,
Yeah.
endlessly, too many times to count, man. And like, I told myself when I moved out, like, I remember it was like driving in our van, like my mom, my dad, all my stuff loaded up in the U-Haul behind us, and like the sun was coming up, and like transition, moving out. This is the drive to college. They're going to drop me off, and I told myself, I'm like, how am I gonna do this? Like, am I gonna, like play this what if game all the time, or am I gonna like embrace my independence? Am I gonna push myself, and I'm gonna, like discover my potential? I'm gonna like test myself and see what I can do. And I told myself in that moment, like that, like anytime I ask myself, what if? That means I gotta do it. Like if I'm even asking and questioning myself, like that's the answer right there. Is like, heck yeah, man, you're gonna, get out there, you're gonna go for it, you're gonna push yourself. If
Yeah.
things, don't like work out the way you want them to, or meant them to, that's okay.
Yep.
I will navigate it and deal with it in the moment, because I'm gonna prepare myself. I'm gonna, like have the tools in my arsenal to handle anything. And that's what it really came down to. And like it's
I can't.
still
I
a
can't tell.
struggle. It's
Honestly,
still a
Tom, I can't.
struggle.
I can't tell you how many times, Tom, that at the very end of my day from school, I'd be rolling to like get picked up from my bro or my uncle or whoever was there to pick me up. Right, I'd be rolling there, and I just remember feeling that moment where you're like, I did it,
Yeah,
and you just
man.
feel amazing because like everything, all that anxiety you felt, and we all know about it because we all go out, and when you go out, like you said, all those same feelings that you have, whether it be pee anxiety or poo anxiety, whatever it is, or autonomic dysreflexia anxiety or
Yeah.
social anxiety, or like for me, I hate being in lines at butt level. I saw a thermal camera, bro. I saw a thermal camera video, and it scarred me for life. And it's like a thermal camera of like
Oh
people
god.
they're
Just
farting.
farting in
All you
front of
see is
you.
like their gas, like and like I hate being in lines because of that. Because I'm sitting here and I'm like, I do not want to breathe in this person's fart. So like I'm sitting here with this anxiety because of this, and like once you get through it all, you're like, I'm good. I made it. I'm here, and it feels so amazing, honestly.
One of
Yeah,
the
bro.
ones that was kind of scary for
That
me was like eating lunch at school.
Yeah,
Like I don't know, like I was always self-conscious eating, like eating in front of
of course.
people. Like like going up to the lunch line, I usually need to ask for help with the tray or whatever, like from one of the lunch people, which was always kind of awkward. Like it's like, okay, what do you want? Help you like walk you to your table and stuff. Like I felt like it stuck out like a sore thumb. Sometimes, or even like the days where they just like bring my own stuff, like sitting there getting out of the bag, fumbling, maybe drop something, have to like ask someone for help or whatever. Like feel like everybody's watching me, while I sit there and do my thing. But like I'll tell you what, the first time like someone from class, or like I, even said like someone from class, like, hey, you wanna like have lunch together today? Like study, go over the homework, whatever. And like, you sit down, like, you have that social interaction and stuff. Like, you just like realize how like meaningless and trivial all those thoughts are.
Yeah,
It's like that is not like what people are thinking. Like people aren't sitting there staring at you like, oh, look at this guy, like even if there is one in the crowd, like, like it doesn't mean anything, it's just like
yeah, at
the
all.
nature of curiosity in people sometimes, to do that. But it's just funny, man. Like I think back to some of these anxieties and stuff that like I had when I first started going to school. I was just like, man, dude, like what the heck were you thinking, bro?
No, not
But
exactly. Like I
that
remember, so just going back to food real fast. I didn't mean to cut you off, Sean. I'm sorry.
I was
Um,
gonna say Amber in the chat is moving this fall after 3 years to be a remote student. She's
let's
there.
go.
So yeah,
heck yeah,
congratulations,
heck
Amber.
yeah.
That's
Congrats, Amber.
awesome.
You're amazing. That's
Do
so
it.
dang cool.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Going back
But
to
go ahead,
Um,
food
Cesar.
last time.
that is.
And
Go
what
ahead,
happened?
Casey. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so
Yeah.
what I was saying is like I remember this one time. It's a funny experience. I was eating my granola bar at like break, whatever, and I'm outside and I had like an hour between my classes, so I'm eating a granola bar, and for me, I use my teeth a lot to open things. As you know, quad hands. So you're kind
Yeah.
of like ripping things open, trying. And I remember I'm trying to rip this granola bar open, and this girl comes running out. She's like, "Hey, do you need any help with opening your granola bar?" And I'm like, "No, I'm okay." But like, it just goes to show like even when somebody's watching, a lot of times it's not out of a place of like I want to, judge you or I'm thinking this of you. it's kind of like in that situation. I was like, man, like this person ran out. I mean, sprinted out at me to help me open
Yeah.
the dang granola bar. And it's just like it was super cool to know that like at the end of the day, like I still had some sort of support, even if it wasn't wanted or needed.
Yeah. Something also like I wanted to make note of. I mean, everything we were talking about today really revolved around like getting out. Maybe going to college, maybe getting on campus and stuff. Times have changed for a lot of people. Times have changed for all of us actually around the world. Considering the state of things, but it's
Yeah.
also opened up certain opportunity. We're utilizing technology in more meaningful ways than we ever have in the past, and that has opened up the doors to access your education online for a lot of people. There is lots of opportunity for remote classes. There's more experienced teachers now to handle and make more meaningful experiences with online classes and stuff like that. It may literally not be a possibility for an individual to move out, to move away from their system of care to get to campus. Even if they can, a few times a semester, going there a few times a week or every day may not be realistic for some people. So I just wanted to remind everybody that post COVID and stuff now, um, there is a ton of opportunity for online classes, online education. You can do all this stuff through your computer, from
Oh,
home.
And I,
And
I think that's super cool for everybody, but I also feel like there is a little bit of that social experience that like
yeah.
you are gonna miss. But hey, I mean the education is probably it's still very good and a
Well,
good
Sean,
good thing.
let me
yeah,
let me throw my 2 cents in real fast. So my last year, I did it via Zoom, and what the pandemic really did for online learning, which I think is amazing, they really just showed able-bodied people that like a Zoom conference call still allows you some sort of socialization and that connection via like Zoom call. So just the way we're talking here, literally almost all my classes besides like two or three were Zoom every 2 days, whatever, Zoom for that whatever period that we were in class for, right? And for me, and like Tom said earlier, like I'm a very hands-on learner, just like you, Tom. So like I need to be engaged. I need to talk to my professor. I need to ask questions, take my own personal notes. I need that in order for me to absorb the information. And Zoom allows that because it gives you more of like that, you can talk to your professor after your class. You're going to be put in groups within your classmates and you're going to have group projects where you guys are going to have to meet up individually the same way. Maybe not in person, and if you can in person, you'll be able to do it, via Zoom. And at the same time, like we just said, online learning is still very possible from a wheelchair. And now more than ever, it's extremely just I'd say like inclusive. Like you're able to have more connection with people.
yeah, more meaningful connection. I mean, like with Google, like workspaces and stuff, like y'all can work on papers together. You can have like a little whiteboard you share online. Like,
Yeah.
study groups and stuff can happen online, virtual hangs and stuff. Like some
Yep.
social interaction is better than no social interaction. Meaning like if
Definitely.
like all you're getting is through Zoom, but if otherwise you wouldn't be getting it at all, like I think that'd be great. Like, you're there to learn and stuff, you're there to socialize, and that can be attained through some measure via online these days. And that I just wanted to point out because what we are talking about for some individuals just isn't realistically possible.
Yeah.
For certain disabilities, some people just it's hard for them to
Yeah.
be on a campus all day. They can't. Um, but you can still achieve some of that, and like there are opportunities that even for online learning to like go onto the campus and stuff and
Boom.
interact, like just because you can't attend the classes normally and you do the online thing doesn't mean that you still can't utilize the resources of your university. You still
Yeah.
can't attend events. You still can't go to campus sometimes and study at the library, maybe with your classmates and stuff. There is so many ways to make the experience unique for you and workable for you. Just as like comes down to the perseverance and the will and the want for it.
Yeah.
Um, but there's so many people. I mean, I know some people are just like, yo, y'all are so inspiring. Y'all are so inspiring out there. Amber, everybody. who's doing it, who's living their
Yeah.
life and, finding and navigating it themselves, however that is. You guys inspire us too. So, all the love
Definitely.
sent right on back. Appreciate you guys. Love our chat.
Yes, sir.
Love everybody watching.
Yeah, you
And
guys are
as
all amazing.
since we are kind of wrapping up a little bit, I do want to take a second here to shout out our sponsors real quick. Thank you, Mobility Professionals. They are a mobility company here in Southern California. So if you are in the Southern California area, need a wheelchair, commode chair, any sort of assisted device, they can help you out, hook you up. And then also
And
they have
yo, I
what's
just
up?
want to say, choose mobility professionals over other people out there. I'm gonna name names
The
right now.
customer
Come after
service.
me if you want. New Motion, you guys suck. You guys do everything to take advantage of the disabled population and community. You guys are abhorrent in your lack of services and the way you treat and take
Yeah.
care of your individuals. If
So
you want the exact opposite of that experience, mobility professionals will help you every step of the way. The most personal service, they'll help identify every mobility need you have and go
Yeah,
to
right.
lengths above and beyond to get you it for at least cost as possible. So they're your people. Sorry, I just had to put that out there.
no, no, for sure. Yeah, customer service, that's what it's all about really because but like the insurance is going to get covered pretty much like your customer service is really where it's at and that's what they
Well,
do.
also the knowledge of understanding and the company's willingness to take the time to sit down with you, help you understand the process, explain every part to you, and ensure you get the right equipment. I can't tell you the experiences I've been having lately with my DME, and like honestly, the experiences over the last 8 years. And again, I don't mean to make the ad sponsorship about something negative, whatever. But I was just saying, if it comes down between those two mobility pros, they're your people.
Yeah, if you're in SoCal, I definitely recommend. And then Urology Professionals is their sister company. They're just starting, and it is a national company for catheter supplies. So that's anywhere in the country. So if you are having trouble with your supplier getting your catheters, definitely give them a call. The information's down below in the description, and they will pretty much take care of everything. Like if you call them and tell them you need to change over, they will call all insurances. They will handle everything for you. So they're
That's awesome.
awesome. Give them a call. Shout out to our sponsors. We're very appreciative of you guys. And very appreciative of our friend Jeff here too with that super chat earlier today, man. Thank you. And congrats on everything with UCI. Congratulations, man. And Amber, all you guys in the chat. Thank you guys. We appreciate you all so much.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
So,
Um, is there anything else we wanted to touch on? Is there like any last minute questions in the chat that anybody had that maybe we didn't specifically touch on? Like maybe a last little note of advice. I would say that community colleges can be a great opportunity to start to feel out the college experience a little bit. A really
yeah.
Yeah.
great starting point to getting back to continue your education. It was the best decision I ever made was to start off at a JC. Not only did it save me some money in terms of getting half my education or half my like undergrad done for significantly less cost with the same caliber of classes and education. You guys. Ah, um, but it was give me the experience and the experiences I needed to make the transition to CSUN, like big university a lot easier because I already had like the college experience a little bit. I understand like what I needed to do to be successful in that academic environment, and it was just it was essentially free. Like Pell
Yeah.
Grants, I didn't have to pay for nothing. With DOR, like I didn't have to do nothing. So
Green.
I mean, it was really, really a great opportunity. Shout out to the community colleges that um, are out there and could be really great starting point, stepping stone. Because
Especially if you're still trying to figure out what you want to do, like
Yeah.
yeah,
probably a good idea to start community
regular
level.
UCs or Cal State universities, private schools, like they are pricey
Yeah.
for anybody. Unless you got real dough. So finding ways to navigate that aspect of it, especially as a disabled individual, can be super important.
It's like in my own closing statements, I guess. One thing that we didn't talk about that I really want people, if you're still here and you're going to college, I really want you to take this into account and put it in your head, please. Become involved. Please become involved in organizations and clubs and resources and things that are happening on campus. When I tell you all of my opportunity came from those small moments where I didn't think it was nothing. Literally, I got into a master's program because I joined a club and I got into a fellowship program through joining that club and going to a random meeting, and pretty much became a fellow under a research project that was happening. It's called ARCS. ARCS is it's the autonomic research, so something at Cesar, right? It's like this like really dope thing at Cesar, right? But I pretty much was able to get in contact with someone who's an academic advisor, and he became my mentor and ended up writing my letter of recommendation. That is one of the biggest reasons. Shout out to you, Andrew Zemlicka. He is still one of the most amazing people in my life. Still guides me and still helps me. But that would have never happened if I didn't join a club and I didn't become more involved in my campus. A lot of times people go to college and they say, what did my degree do? I don't have a job yet. But a lot of times those same people didn't take advantage of the resources and the opportunity and the networking available at their university. And that to me is one of the most, like, if you take nothing else from this whole talk, please, 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 when you are at school, take advantage of those resources and clubs, because you have no idea how far it can take you.
Yeah, and even if they aren't necessarily academic, even if it's just hobbies, personal
Yeah,
stuff that you enjoy doing, the relationships, the connections that you forge at college, like honestly, like some of them will probably like last the rest of your life. At least that's been my experience thus far. So really, like, definitely reiterate everything Case just said is put yourself out there. I guarantee you won't. 99% of the time, you're not going to regret it, and just go for it.
definitely.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that was great advice, guys. I think that was,
And
I
if
don't know.
you, I want to cut off Shawn. I'll let you go, bro. Wrap
Okay.
it up. But last little thing, just want to say is, smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you haven't. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit that little notification bell so you get alerted when we go live on days like today. And we are here. Me and Cesar are here to, be a resource for you. If you're having trouble, navigating this, finding out information on your own, regardless of where you are, I promise I'll take some time out of my day to, help dig into my resources and, facilitate whatever it is you're working towards. I know Cesar and Shawn, are more than willing to do the same thing. So if it comes down to it, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us individually. We got our, Instagram tags and stuff up on the screen. So we here to help.
Yep, definitely reach out. Anybody, yeah, if you are, especially if you're in need and just kind of worried, we're not going to answer or whatever, just reach out. Even sometimes it does take me a little bit to see messages, to get back to messages, but I will get back to them.
I would say,
And I'm,
going through YouTube may be, less responsive way to do it. Like if you message any of us on Instagram, it'd probably be a little bit faster.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
Or
if you
I try
always
to get to the
comment under
comments on
the,
here, but
yeah, if you
it's
comment
hard.
under the video as well, we'll definitely make sure to respond to that.
My DMs are always open for that. Anyone who wants to talk education, accessibility, and how to manage or navigate or just get to these resources. Like you guys said, one of us know, and I'm sure if we don't have the answer, we'll pass it on to each other, and we'll figure out how to get you the best experience you can possibly have.
Heck yeah, man. Awesome, bro. It was awesome having you on, Caesar, dude. I don't know. Caesar's the man, dude.
Hey,
You guys are
inspiration,
both.
Yeah.
a force to be reckoned with. Cool, awesome, kind. Really, really amazing guy. We appreciate you taking your time to, share what you have with us today, man. And I
Thank
hope
you
that
guys.
you'll do it again soon, bro.
Yeah,
Love
we're
having
gonna
you
have
on the
Caesar on
channel.
again for sure.
You guys are family, man. Anytime you guys
KC.
need me, and anytime we just want to just shoot the stuff and just smoke some reefer and have a good time and
Get down
really
on some
enjoy.
Fortnite, bro. Let's go, KC Beats.
Never. You already
I
know,
got you,
bro.
man. I got you.
Heck yeah,
Uh,
bro.
oh yeah, guys. All right, well, everybody, thank you for watching. Like Tom said, smash that like button, hit subscribe, the bell to stay notified. And anything you have, questions or anything, leave them in the comments for this video, any video, and we'll get to them. So thanks for watching, guys.
See you
Live to
next
roll.
Tuesday.